but measuring is vital. I've always said that you cannot manage what you do not measure. And I think getting measurements right and getting the measure of progress right, not just at the government level, but also at the corporation level, is absolutely vital. The good news is that I was counting just the other, there are no less than seven globally relevant initiatives on GDP accounting, recasting OECD, UNCEA, SEA 2003, the works. And of course we need a bit of cohesion and collaboration amongst them. But clearly the message is out that beyond GDP is not an option, it's a direction. The question is how you go there, what speed you dictate, and what direction you choose specifically in terms of guidance and manuals and so on. So I think it's happening. Problem that I see today is that this process of change is just too leisurely. We are just far too supine in our approach to this. And I think we need the metrics changed yesterday. And I'm certainly from our side, from TEEB, and with the support of IUCN, UNEP, and everyone else who is involved in this, we are pushing as hard as we can to get the metrics changed. That's really what the press needs to present a different and more complete reality. And I think that's finally what financiers need. And when I say financiers, I talk the broader context, public financiers as well as private financiers. Please remember, it's not only about private wealth that finances public assets. There is also public wealth, which you and I pay through taxes, which finances public assets. Yeah.
Yeah. On the 19th news, Obama, Brown,
yeah.
talking about some index
Yes.
of national
Progress, yes, yes. Yeah.
In the same way,
Yes.
that it's now absolute mainstream politics.
GDP growth, absolutely.
Spending plans, tax plans. It takes a leap of imagination.
And it needs guts. I can envisage some, maybe Obama, I'm giving my bets on it. He wouldn't, I don't think Balk is saying that we've recalculated growth. And I'm sorry to tell you that there was a loss in value of 15% of GDP last year. But the good news is it's down to only 11% of GDP lost this year. That's the whole thing. That's why you need the cuts.
I was just thinking, well, I think, again, the missing link is leadership. But, the news isn't all that bad, although too slow. There are lots and lots of children now who actually understand a lot of these things that we in our education system, which was pretty bad for this, just didn't. So the education system has got to change, and quickly, not only in schools, but in the media and everywhere else. Just thinking about Obama and Angela Merkel and even you yourself, supposing you woke up tomorrow, you and Mr. Obama and the others, and found 3 fingers gone, 2 toes, 1 ear, and that's exactly how much biodiversity we're losing. You'd be really worried, and because it's on you, and we're basically all interested in ourselves first. We've got to get the message out that what it means when we're losing as much biodiversity. The tigers, it's an emblematic species, but it's a beginning, and that president of the World Bank really cares about those tigers, which is also a miracle.
But in a way, and I know this is an issue with conservation more broadly, if we focus, and we like the tigers, they're good terms. I have to
Yeah.
say about tigers.
It's more difficult about the dung beetle, although it's pretty good television too, I think.
There
Yeah.
are some
So
ecologically essential little worms in the mud that are never going to get media coverage.
Yeah.
And that goes to the heart of the issue of ecosystem service.
Yeah.
How we in the media, how politicians talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and we in the scientific community have got to convince you and show you that worm and the dung beetle have really great stories to talk about you.
I think the dung beetle is quite cute.
The dung beetle, okay. The worm is, all right. Okay, good.
The bees have made it to the BBC, so I don't think why the dung beetles shouldn't someday.
Yeah. Well, the dung beetle's cute.
But, but in fairness, the bees made it because they're in a state of collapse. So the gloom and doom was the way that got them on air.
Well, can I just say one more thing, and I think just to answer to Mr. Lancaster, and that is that I think citizens need a tool. What can I do? I think that was the problem about the Al Gore film. It was fantastic, and at the end, and so what? Now what can I do? And there was kind of a script at the end, but maybe that's a sequel. We need to be able to give people practical tools, and that's why I think the footprint is a good measurement already. So this is my footprint, and then what can I do to reduce it? And everybody that I talk to all over the world, people who don't know how to read or write, they also want to know, what are the practical things I can do? If 9 billion of us, or 7 right now, actually get together, our footprint, our positive footprint would be very big.
we are in this funny situation now with the financial crisis that even though there's more discussion about beyond GDP, we are more fixated on GDP because we measure the crisis in terms of GDP, and so it's kind of this strange thing. And so I think, I wonder actually if we should reframe, say, does it take guts to kind of see the other world? Probably. It's just, and it's this strange misbeliefs that even Nicholas Stern, with all my admiration, he in the end says, oh, we should have at least 20% of the stimulus package should be green. What about the other 80%? Do we want to build traps? Or what's going on? I mean, it's crazy. Or that now in the United States, the deans of the business schools said we have to subsidize house building again because that stimulates the economy, that we are rebuilding the consumer economy. I mean, I don't know, it's not about guts, it's kind of, this is undermining our future and how easy I mean, it's not that complex, sustainability. I was impressed yesterday, Felix, the 11-year-old boy, was explaining contraction and convergence perfectly well with exact numbers, and I mean, just totally logical. So it's not that difficult, it doesn't take that much guts, but I think it takes kind of a rethinking of our beliefs, what truly serves us. So it's not even altruism, but really kind of stepping back because we're not anymore in the 20th century where resources were abundant. It's a new world, and those who do not get that, they will suffer the consequences themselves. It's not about guts, perhaps, just as a way of reframing. I understand the guts too.
No,
change is always difficult, but...
This is the right way to describe it, isn't it? I think it would take a lot of political guts for someone to stand up, farmer or whatever.
It takes the, I mean, it takes the child and to call the emperor naked, possibly. So that's what it takes. And I think it also takes everybody to participate. I mean, that's what I often say. It takes probably about 6 billion heroes to kind of to make the turn, and you're part of the heroes, and that's great. And I think just to put another plug in, if you want to stay connected, I will give you a yellow sheet you can put on your emails, so we can put you on our newsletter list, and so you can stay connected as well.
Well done, plugging, slipping that one in. Okay, question at the front here. I've been working very patiently.
Hi, thanks. I'm Miranda Brown. I actually work for the Australian government. I'm not sure I might be the only government official here, so I might try and give a little bit of a government perspective. I spent 15 years working on multilateral issues, UN issues, environment issues, and I'm now based here in Geneva. I'm the Deputy Permanent Representative to the UN. I found the discussions really interesting, and particularly I'm interested in how the panel sees ways for selling your message to governments, because one thing that you would know is we're overwhelmed by messages, and obviously with the financial crisis at the moment, we have those issues to take into account. Those are at the forefront of our thinking. And I think I was interested in hearing that the actual concepts, you believe the concepts have now been widely accepted particularly by, or at least taken some consideration has been given to them by first world governments, and you mentioned certain leaders. I hope you'd include my Prime Minister Kevin Rudd as one of those, but that these concepts are now have now at least been acknowledged by these leaders. But obviously we do have a lot of work to do in terms of practical implementation and getting these messages out also to developing countries who have other priorities. And one thing that obviously that we've noticed in the UN context is that about 10 years ago we didn't really take into account gender balance nor human rights in our development programs. The UN didn't really take those into account. And in the last few years we now, most donors at least, have a so-called rights-based approach to development, which includes human rights. We also have a gender-based approach, so we take gender into account. My question for the panel is, do they see value in trying to propose to governments that they might take an environment-based approach or nature-based approach to development programs? Because if you could roll that out as a concept, both in the UN context and for donors, by giving them key messages, simple messages, you might find that you get some traction. It's just, I'd be interested in your views.